Good evening, you're watching Market Wrap on BloombergQuint. I'm Darshan Mehta. A historic day as far as the Sensex was concerned, hitting record highs in today's trade, but not a bad day for the Nifty itself. It ended with a positive bias. It was up almost 33 points. So the big outperformance came in from Yes Bank, which was up 24%, given the fact that they have indicated the fact that there is a $1.2 billion offer that is there to buy shares in the company. The other counters include Z Entertainment. On the losing end, the metal counter did manage to move down in trade. So your JSW Steel and Tata Steel, which was weak, and some of the private sector banks, apart from a Yes Bank, did manage to fall in trade. So ICICI was weak, Axis Bank was weak. So that's the trend about it. Let's get in Neeraj Shah, our morning band editor, to get a sense of what happened with the market. Exciting day, Neeraj, today. Sensex hitting 40,000 today. What's the sense? You spoke to a lot of people today. What's the sense that you got?
Yeah, and remember, Darshan, we were talking about this yesterday as well, that strong 5 days of gains. Could there be a pullback? Maybe after hitting a bit of a pullback coming in as well. Yeah. But 2-3 interesting things. All market linked participants are doing very well. The PSU stocks saw a bit of profit booking today, and there's a bit of a course correction in companies like HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, etc. all came down. Reliance didn't do as well, and the divergence between TCS and Infosys came off as well, with Infi gaining. Well, maybe course correction in store, but I don't know what your day room sources are telling you, Darshan, about what the near term could be in store, because we had a good, splendid rally. The question is, can it last?
Yeah, I think the biggest talking point today was, and I was really impressed with the way SBI has managed to move. Yes. It's at almost 315. On the result day, it was close to 240, 250. So it's been a stellar run, and despite all the clarifications coming in the big analyst meet that happened yesterday, my sense was that the commentary was very strong in terms of in FY21 they look at a 1% ROA. The other thing that they also spoke about was the pending IPO of SBI Cards, which they said that they will do it ahead, and they spoke about a lot of cost cutting. And the other interesting thing is that look at the numbers which have reacted to numbers. Quest Corp was there, Kaplan Point came out with numbers, Tata Global Beverages. So I think, Neeraj, after a while we're seeing that numbers and stock reactions which have been extremely stronger. Anything that you found interesting among the stocks on the lower end?
Just one thing that Darshan stood out for me today, and something that we were talking about on Countdown as well, that if the there is this talk about a media company reaching some bit of resolution as well. There is Yes Bank, which has got this binding offer as well, and if these troubled accounts are getting some monies or some resolution, it should augur well, one for sentiment and two for the banking space as well, and for the mutual fund space as well. So, well, if all is turning out well, then the sentiment was likely improved.
Yeah, and it was very interesting because after Yes Bank, you saw the big move that came in RBL Bank. IndusInd Bank managed to move up in trade. I think the only exception was after the big 7% move yesterday, Indigo's given up most of the gain. So that's something is a little bit of a worrisome problem that's seen on the aviation side. But thanks so much for that, Neeraj. Let's talk about the big number that came out. Indian Oil Corporation, pretty bad numbers. Amit, what do you make of the numbers?
Well, it was pretty much bad, the numbers that have come in. If you see the top line has also already missed by close to 10,000 crore rupees. So the revenue has fallen by nearly 15% to close to 1,11,000 crore rupees. The net profit has seen a drop of nearly 84% to close to 563 crore rupees. Now on the operational front, the EBITDA is down by nearly 57% to close to 3,500, while the margins have come in as low as 3.2% for Indian Oil Corporation in the second quarter of financial year 2020. Now the possible reason behind this weak performance could be lower gross refining margins. Now we do not have the exact number of the GRM, but the calculated GRM is in the range of around $1.5 to $2 per barrel, which is way below what analysts were expecting. Analysts were expecting the number to be close to $5 per barrel. So that is a big miss that has happened for Indian Oil Corporation in the second quarter. Along with that, a higher inventory loss could be the second reason why the numbers have missed the analyst estimates by such a big mark. So we are still awaiting management commentary on these two factors, but these are the two possible reasons what could have impacted the numbers. Also, the company had a foreign exchange loss of close to 1,100 crore rupees in the second quarter of financial year 2020.
Can you, will the impact what you saw on IOC have any sort of impact on HPCL as well as BPCL? Because if you see the numbers here, IOC has been a marked underperformer. It's not done badly as far as the index is concerned, but BPCL and HPCL have actually outperformed for these two questions.
Well, firstly, if you see if this weak performance is mainly because of inventory loss, then no, it wouldn't have a big impact on BPCL and HPCL, because the inventory that these two companies keep, that is BPCL and HPCL, is far less than what Indian Oil Corporation keeps. On an average, Indian Oil Corporation keeps an inventory of nearly 45 days. So that's a big amount that Indian Oil Corporation keeps, and that's the reason because of that inventory loss, this weak performance could have happened. If it's because of weak refining segment, then yes, BPCL and HPCL would also see some weakness in trade trade tomorrow because of this weak performance that Indian Oil Corporation has.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Somit. I think the big stock that we need to watch out today, and Vishwanath will speak to us on that, is Yes Bank. Vishwanath, all of a sudden, out of the blue, tomorrow the numbers are there. Everyone expected that probably something will come tomorrow, but they surprised the street with coming out with this announcement today. What are you hearing on this?
Well, I'm hearing as much as the bank has already declared. They said that they've got a binding offer from a global investor. They've not mentioned who this investor is or what kind of investment this is, whether it's strategic or financial or what it is. What we do know, however, is that the results are tomorrow, and that's when the board will be made aware of this offer, right before the results come in, and probably then they will have a clearer idea on what exactly is going to happen as far as Yes Bank's investment is concerned. But remember that one important point in that statement that they put out, they said that they're continuing conversations with other potential investors. So while on the investors' part, it is a binding offer, the bank has not finalized it as the only investment that they're going to get, about $1.2 billion. Back of the envelope calculations point to about a 30% stock shares sale, which will have to happen to the investor. Apart from that, its capital adequacy will be boosted by about 260 basis points. 30% cannot be sold to a single investor according to the RBI's current guidelines, but the RBI does provide certain contingencies. In special situations, it can consider these things, especially in the case of Catholic Syrian Bank. If you remember, Fairfax owns about 51% stake. So that is an important point to also note, that power is available to the RBI. Whether the RBI will actually use it or not, we are not entirely sure. First, the board has to approve it. Next, it will go to the shareholders and then the regulators, and that's when the final offer will come to light, and we'll get to know who it is, how much are they offering, and at for what stake in the bank that they're offering. Plus, of course, we'll need to also understand what exactly are the changes that this new investor will bring into the bank, because the bank is currently facing considerable asset quality stress, apart from the capital issues that it has already been facing for the last few months.
Okay, so very surprising. That's what and you pointed it out. I was looking at the market cap of 18,000 crores.
Yeah.
So $1.2 billion will come close to almost 10,000 crores. So how much dilution are they looking to do it? And any sense, have you spoken to anyone in your banking circles to get a sense of whether this will be one investor, multiple investors?
Yeah, so
and will this be announced tomorrow?
So unlikely that it will be announced tomorrow, because it will only be a board approval. It will most likely come closer when the shareholder approval stage comes in. Before that, the board has to see whether the investor is somebody that they want to associate with, and then give their nod for it. Now, the bank has been discussing with multiple investment firms across the world. We have reported in the past that certain large funds had backed out because the kind of information that was available to them was not enough for the funds to put money in Yes Bank as an educated decision. So obviously that is a problem. How much they're going to dilute? Most likely about 33%. It will help the bank in terms of course, that money comes in and that money helps in boosting capital and supporting growth for the future. Whether they will actually do it or not, that will come to know.
My only point here is that they did a QIP at 86 or 85, I'm not sure.
84.
Yeah. And investors have lost a lot of money. If
Correct.
you take this move out today, where they gain 30%, most of them have lost half their money.
Correct.
How much more money will this $1.2 billion be enough for them? For at least, will it be a temporary solution? Will they need to get in more investors?
Yeah. So this $1.2 billion number has been talked about for a very long time.
And they've told it today officially.
Yeah, correct. So this figure, obviously, then we can understand that is the amount of money that they need. So they raised about 270 million in August when they did the QIP. So this will add to that. So all in all, they would have raised about close to 1.5, which according to the bank's current position as well as its stated stress asset portfolio, that should be enough to cover for all of those as well as support growth for the future. Whether they'll need more funds after that, that will depend entirely on what the growth strategy for Yes Bank will be.
Okay, Vishwanath, thanks. We'll again get you tomorrow to get more sense, because Yes Bank will come out with numbers tomorrow. Thanks so much. Sharad, hi, come in. Couple of stocks that you would want to speak on. I think a couple of mid caps.
Yes.
So which are the ones you want to speak on?
Both the mid caps as stocks have actually come on their earnings. The first stock being Tube Investments. The stock, was reacting very positively today based on a strong quarterly earnings. And if I go through the main numbers, the EBITDA has risen by almost 11% to almost 160 crores, and the net profit rose by almost 42%. So basically, the company has actually the raw material and the other expenses have actually helped the bottom line numbers go up. In terms of segments, we see the metal formed and the gear products rising almost 10 to 15%. 15%, but there was a drag seen in the cycles in the engineering segment. Now, if you see the chart, you see today itself, the stock has climbed up almost 11% today and ended the day at almost 398.4 rupees per share, and it is trading again above all its key moving averages of 50 days, 100 days, and 200 days. Up next, Darshan, we are seeing is Syndicate Bank, which came out with its number, at around 2 o'clock today. Stable numbers were reported, in the asset quality ratios, with the net interest income rising almost 11% to 1,739 crores, and the provisions were down 60%. If you go through the GNPAs stood at 11.45% versus 11.76% on a quarter-to-quarterly basis, and also the other income, component stood at almost 52% at 745 odd crore rupees. Today itself, the stock rose as high as 12%. It was one of the top gainers of Nifty 500 index. But if we see the month of the October returns, which we see, this itself has been positive, in the last 3 months. And if we see over the last 11 years, 10 years have, yielded positive returns. So indeed, October was a good month for Syndicate Bank.
Yeah, that's a very interesting chart. No one would have guessed it that it's always given almost double-digit gains in almost all the months. And one interesting point, Sharad, that I have noticed is that stocks are reacting very wildly to numbers. If you come out with a good set of numbers, the market is immediately reacting you with 10-12% returns.
Definitely.
But thanks so much for that. So that's all the time we have for today's edition of Market Wrap. Thanks for watching BloombergQuint.
Attractive terms